Hello folks, so this video blog is some video coverages I did back in October 17th. That was for a Communities United event where some candidates were featured there to speak. That was hosted by the Service Employees International Union, which we did a coverage for Dad's TV show at Film TV called Pulse. So I will start off with some footages here where Congresswoman Dina Titus spoke.
But early voting is coming up really very soon. So we made it as easy as possible. You can mail it in, you can take it down there, you can do it early, you can do it on the day. So there's no excuse for not voting. So it's up to you. Your vote counts, but those extra votes that you bring with you will help count more. So thank you for everything. I always say that unions are the tide that lifts all ships. They help with equality. They help fight discrimination. They give you a living wage and good benefits and retirement when you're ready to hang it up. So I am very proud to always have your endorsement, and I ask you for your vote again, and thank you very much. But there's a lot more to do, and we're pledged to do that. If you look at the seats this time, all of Nevada is a toss-up. Governor, senator, all three of your House members, we're all in toss-up races. We're all on the front line with the DCCC. All the margins are very close, but I'm feeling a little more optimistic. I think things are starting to kind of turn our way. Inflation's down a little bit. The abortion issue, the recent decision to subpoena the president, all of those things are kind of working in favor of Democrats.
He was an SEIU organizer. He was the head of the DNC in Nevada, the Democratic National Committee, of course. And, of course, a former assembly person. Now, he is the youngest commissioner, county commissioner of District D, William McCarty II.
Let's give our second. I am honored to be here today, this evening. I am currently a county commissioner, and I am privileged to be in that role where I get to work on issues that matters to our communities each and every day. But I decided to show up this evening not because our president, Mary Kay Henry, is here, and because I call her my second mom, Grace Ricard-Vital, said, hey, you better be there. But then Michelle, my essay, was like, Will, you coming? I'm like, absolutely. But I came because I felt that it was important to offer my voice to the objective that we have before us in 21 days. It's easy to lose sight of what we all just lived through over these past 2 years. It's also easy to lose sight of all the progress that has been made here in Nevada since 2016, when we elected the first Latina U.S. Senator in history with Catherine Cortez Masto. It's easy to lose sight that we regained control of the House with electing Congressman Horsford, Congresswoman Dina Titus, Congresswoman Susie Lee. It's easy to lose sight of realizing the fact that we elected a supermajority in the legislature, a supermajority in women, the first in the nation in the legislature, in the assembly, and also elected a Democratic governor for the first time in over 20 years. But what we have today is a very unstable economic environment. So this is a conversation about power. This is a conversation about what we are going to do and what we are going to charge who we elect to do once we get them across that finish line. And I would submit to you that if we send them there and they don't do what we ask them to do, then we have to hold them accountable. Is that right? If you have someone that you send to do a job and they don't do that job, do they get to keep their job? So I would say the folks that we've elected to represent us today, they've done their job. And they deserve another opportunity to continue to serve and deliver for our families. And we have to trust them to do that work. Because when they come and they look us in the eyes, and they tell us, I care about your work. You're essential. We hear that a lot, essential workers. I care about your work. You deserve a raise. Families shouldn't be getting evicted. Rent's too damn high. We literally have the working poor.
Anymore. So just a moment ago, we were playing a slide of different pictures that were up here, and that was for the Community United event number 1. Make a little bit of noise if you were at Community United number 1. And at that event, I had the privilege to speak a bit about what I call the big lie. Not the big lie that we know about, that they talk about, but the lie that because we are a different shade or a different color or have a little bit background, we're different from each other. We're stronger because we are diverse. We are stronger because we come together. We are stronger because we are one. Is that right? So I'm hoping for a little bit of honesty from the room at this point in time. We know we have what it takes to win. But if you got a little bit of nerves or anxiety, can you raise your hand, show of hands, about this upcoming election? That's right. And we should have a little bit of nerves, because what's at stake? As we heard about before, women's rights are at stake. Workers' rights are at stake. Our communities are at stake. And I know we say this all the time, this is the most important election ever. But we literally have democracy at stake in front of us. Is that right? We have over 291 candidates throughout the country that are election deniers, and many of them are running in the state of Nevada. But we have an answer for that. We have amazing electeds, like the ones who just spoke ahead of us, that will stand up, that care about the right things, that care about health care, that care about affordable housing, that care about our communities. And those are the folks in the next 21 days we need to elect. Are y'all with me on that? So as my brother just said, the next 21 days are crucial. They are vital. We could be living in a different state in 21 days. We could be living in essentially a different country in 21 days. And my question is, are we willing to do what it is necessary to win? Are we ready? Hey, what happens when we vote? We know we need to fight. When women's rights are under attack, what do? When worker rights are under attack, what do? When good elected officials are under attack, what do? And when we fight, when we vote, let's fight with our vote, and let's win November 8th. Let's spend every moment that we have available to make sure we do everything in our power to win. Thank you, brothers and sisters.
Hey, y'all. First off, I want to say thank you so much for having me here. I really appreciate it. I love what y'all do, the way you take care of your members and the way you take care of the community. And you're doing 98% of the work to get people. You're knocking on doors, you are calling people, you're texting people, talking to your family and friends, getting them out to vote. But that last 2%, once they get out to vote, we have to make sure that vote counts. So I'm going to talk a little bit about voting in Nevada and the options. I'm from Nevada Democratic Victory, so we're the coordinated campaign for the Democratic Party. And one of the things that I do as voter protection director is my job is to make sure that every eligible voter who wants to vote can vote, that that vote is counted, and that the count is certified, which is a new thing that we have to talk about. We didn't used to have to talk about, but that's a different story. So anyway, one of the things that we do is we run a hotline. So if you ever have any questions, any problems, anything like that, call our hotline, 775-877-VOTE. Vote, that's 8683. You can call it or you can text it. We'll take either one. You can English, Spanish, we can call you back in Tagalog, we can call you back in Korean, Mandarin, I think we have Arabic and Farsi now. But yeah, just, reach out anytime, any questions, if you're running into problems, anything like that. We have people, they're trained, they're able to help you. So there are 3 ways to vote in Nevada, and you probably know that, but if you don't, I'm going to talk about them really quick. The first is voting by mail. Starting this year, every active registered voter in Nevada is going to get a mail ballot in their mail. In Clark County, I think those are pretty much all hit at this point, unless they're new registration. In Washoe, they're coming up really soon. And then you can also vote early, and you can vote on election day. All right, next slide. So,
We've got all the wonderful people that have our back. I know they say this to you, but I totally believe they do it for you. Don't you? Now wait a minute. 18 people here believe. What happened to the 190 others? Do you believe? And we don't want to be? Correct. All right. So now it is an honor to call to the podium a wonderful young man who has been in the trenches with SEIU. He was an organizer, and honestly, I spent a whole lifetime.
And we're just 3 weeks away from having that potential happen here. We need to be electing the right people up and down the ballot. We need to have Cisco Aguilar as our Secretary of State. He knows how to communicate with people.
Welcome to the polls again at the San Buban. I caught up with Brenda Zamora, who is running for the school board, District D, and we're gonna ask her a couple of questions. Brenda, is this the first time you're running for the school board?
It is. It's my first race that I do.
And what have you were doing before in public service?
So I was doing community service, community work. So I worked at a non-profit progressive movement, and I fought for bills like paid sick days. Nationally, I did paid leave work, just organizing our community so they can get out and testify, share their stories, so we can pass policies that help working families.
Yes. Why is it important that you win in this election for the school board?
So we have a lot on the line right now. We have a lot of teachers upset with the district. We are already in a teacher shortage. It is important right now that we have someone on the board that's going to listen to our teachers, to our parents, and to our kids. We have high schoolers showing up to the school board. They're sharing their stories. They're sharing their stories. They're out here, and they need to be heard. A lot of the time, they're just kind of talking to a real board. It feels like a wall, and they're not getting any responses back. So I definitely want to be that voice of my community.
And why do you think it's also important that that the Democrats maintain control of the state legislature and the state senate?
Honestly, it's because of where, the issues align, especially for me. My issues are making sure that our working families, can thrive. And the Democratic side is definitely one that aligns with those issues, and they see those families and those communities who are suffering the most in our state.
Brenda, thank you for agreeing to talk to us. Brenda Zamora, candidate for school board, District D, Clark County. Thank you again.
On and go.
Welcome to the polls again at this event of the SEIU Communities United. I have one here from the Filipino American community. His name is Carlos Vasquez, and we are going to ask him some questions. Carlos, I'm sorry to interrupt your. Are you going to vote on this election day?
Yes, sir. Every year, every election, I always vote. I'm a Republican. As a Republican.
Okay. And why is it important for you that Republicans take some of the seats in our state legislature?
Well, I've just been a Republican since the beginning, and it's what I believe. So, and so far, it's all good.
All right. Are you aware that only the Democratic Party is actually protecting our immigration program worldwide, with more Filipinos coming into these countries in what Trump described as a chain migration, which he's trying to stop?
No, I'm not aware of that.
Okay. All right. Thank you again, Carlos. Thanks for agreeing to talk to us.
One and go.
I have here another representative of the Filipino American community. Her name is Marilyn Ante. Ms. Marilyn, are you going to vote in this election cycle?
Of course I will. Yes.
Have you always been voting?
Yes. I have been.
All right. And I also have here Marge, what do you use? Durante?
My name is Lauren Martin. I'm the Executive Director of the Progressive Leadership Alliance in Nevada and Plan Action. And actually, my very first job in Nevada was working for SEIU Local 1107. So I'm always happy to be among family. And I always like to lift up, we have our International President, Mary Kay, our President, Michelle, our Executive Director, Grace, Auntie Gloria. I'm not sure what her role is, but I know she's running something. Give it up to SEIU for having so many strong women running this organization. So, for those of you who aren't familiar with Plan yet, we are a statewide organization founded in Reno in the 90s to bring together people on the left to organize in coalition. That's unions, immigrants, black folks, LGBT, rural people, indigenous people, because we saw that regardless of who the governor was or if the legislature was red or blue, Nevada Inc. always wins. And Nevada Inc. is the gambling industry, the mining industry, the banking industry. The boss always gets what they want. But when we organize our people together, our people have power. So I'm so glad to be part of Plan, and SEIU is a member. Michelle's on our board, and we're getting stronger every day. And I'm here to talk about quickly, this is an hour presentation that's going to happen in 5 minutes, to talk about how we defend our votes. So in 2022, we are focused on fortifying our capacity for election defense across the entire country, and especially in our progressive movements. We want to make sure people are able to safely cast their vote, and that makes sure we're strengthening voter resiliency in the long term. So Plan is also a member of Silver State Voices, which is our C3 table, and we work in coalition with them. It's an organization called Let Nevadans Vote. You can look it up on social media. You can also find some links there to join election protection locally. We're also working nationally with election defenders. We're formalizing false election results. Today there was a big report about a man named Robert Beatles, who's a millionaire, who's pumped millions of dollars in Nevada to spread election lies, to try to steal our votes, to try to recall our elected officials. We know that on the left, we are the people of ideas. We are the people of solving problems, be it neighborhood stability, home care workers, Bill of Rights. The other side just wants to steal the election. We have to be cognizant of that, and we have to make sure that when we send our people out to vote, we're prepared to protect them from all the shenanigans that are going to happen from the side that is depraved of ideas, basically. So we know that a lot of the big lie and the efforts to steal our votes is because there are people in this world that don't want to accept that unions like SEIU, which is full of people of color, indigenous folks, Asian women, black folks, that we are able to decide who we vote for, and we can win when we vote. People don't like that, and that's why they're trying to steal our votes. And so there's a national effort called the Election Defenders. As you can see on the screen, there's trainings coming up. Anybody who uses that will be rolled in to the Silver State Voices program. That link and these trainings have been live for a while. You can see there's some trainings that have already happened. If you have folks, retirees, kids who are off on Nevada Day, people, maybe they're getting a little tired of knocking doors and they want to be stable at one polling place, we need you. Let Nevadans Vote Coalition need you.
We've got a very interesting panel for you. So I would like to call to the stage, please, the Lieutenant Governor of the great state of Nevada, Lisa Cano-Burkhead. The Treasurer, Zach Curran. Zach. Controller Candidate, Ellen Spiegel. Ellen, where are you? There you go. All right, come on, take your seats. You may take the center seats, and then you have microphones in front of you. Here you go. Jody will serve as the moderator for this panel. And there are questions that you have asked, and questions that Jody, get away.
Thank you, and welcome to our panel. Thank you so much for coming out tonight. My name is Jody Dominic. I am a pediatric nurse here in Las Vegas. I am also a steward for Sunrise and on the SEIU 1107 Executive Board. So, thank you so much for coming. I'm going to ask you to both introduce yourself real quick and let us know what you are running for and what you expect.
Good evening, everyone.
Yes.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Burkhead, and I am proud to be the 36th Lieutenant Governor of our great state. I am also very proud to sit before all of you as the first ever first-generation Latina American to be the Lieutenant Governor. Thank you. My background is education. It is not politics. After 25 years in the Clark County School District, I was appointed as Lieutenant Governor last December by Governor Sisolak. And I'm proud as a first-generation Latina American, as a lifelong educator, as a mother of 3 beautiful daughters, as a lifelong Nevadan, to sit here as Lieutenant Governor with this incredible group of people, and my intentions really are to do what I've always done my entire career, which is to remove barriers for our working families, for our educators and vets. We need to make sure that we have people at the table who are thoughtful in their decision-making process, who are not afraid to lean in and listen and learn, and to work alongside together to make sure that we are making a difference for Nevada families. Thank you.
Thank you.
I do. Thank you, Lieutenant Governor. Hi, everybody. I'm Zach Conine. I have the pleasure of being the treasurer of the great state of Nevada. The treasurer, for anybody who doesn't know, money, exactly. The treasurer is the state's chief investment officer. And investing, I think, is what you're all doing being here today, right? At its core, investing is taking a little bit off the table now to create a little bit more for the future. And isn't that what we're all doing when we get out there and we make sure that we elect people who are going to take care of us? I've got 3 kids. I've got an 8-year-old named Ruby and 2 5-year-old boys named Rutherford and Theodore. And in case anyone's wondering what it's like to raise 5-year-old boys, I'm happy to drop them off at your house. Depending on where you live, it'll take me about 35 minutes. But my wife and I work every day to make sure that they've got a better future for themselves, and that's what you are each doing for your families, right? And not just your families, but the families of people that live down the street from you, the families of people you're never going to meet. When the treasurer does their job well, you don't hear about us a lot, but you see some of the stuff that we've done. More than $1 billion in affordable housing investment, the highest it's ever been. The highest credit rating in state's history, which has allowed us to borrow the money we need to build more schools, to build more roads and bridges and hospitals. And finally, going after all of the federal money that our delegation has brought back to the state for years to make sure that it gets to the people who are doing the work, so that we can finally have an increase in the Medicaid reimbursement rate, so we can finally pay home health care workers what they are owed. I'm so grateful to be here today, again, with my friends at Local 1107, and I'm happy to be, I think, one of the few finance people that Laura Martin likes. And so we are here, happy to answer any questions, but thanks so much for having me. My name is Zach Conine.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Spiegel, and I'm running to be your next state controller. Now, what's a controller? Nobody ever knows what a controller is. So, as Zach is the chief's investment officer, the controller is the chief fiscal officer. So what does that mean? Controller pays the bills, collects money that's owed to the state, and prepares the financials to let everybody know where we stand. I served for 10 years in the assembly, and I know where the money comes from. I was on the taxation committee, I was vice chair of it. I know where the money goes to. I was on the Ways and Means Committee and the IFC, the Interim Finance Committee, and I was vice chair of the Ways and Means Subcommittee on education funding and capital improvement programs. And I know where the opportunities are. And the thing is that a lot of people glaze over and they think, well, gee, this is like the most unsexy job in the world, and why does anybody do it, and why should anybody care? So here's the thing. If you work for a company or you work for an entity that does business with the state of Nevada, you want to make sure that your company gets paid so that they have money to pay you, so that you can keep a roof over your head and food on the table. If you care about anybody getting any kind of services from the state, you want to make sure that those get done, that the entities that are providing those services get paid so that they have money for helping people. You want to make sure that the person in that job is collecting money that's owed to the state. We're all facing inflation. Our families' money budgets are getting tightened. The state's budget's getting tightened too. So we need people who know how to work with it and collect money, bring it in so that we can do more with the assets that we have. And that's my vision.
Thank you. My name is Julie Pazina, and I'm fortunate to be running in State Senate District 12. That covers, yay, some cheers out there. That covers, for those of you that know, Green Valley, West Henderson, Silverado Ranch area. It's an open seat right now, so it's a great opportunity for the only red to blue pickup in the state senates. I had the opportunity, for those of you that may recognize me, to run 4 years ago. I mention this because of the importance of voting, which starts just next weekend. We are just days away from early vote. So 4 years ago I ran in a district that a woman had never won, that a Democrat had never won. And out of over 55,000 votes, I lost by 24. So if anyone ever tries to tell you your vote doesn't count, please tell them how important it is to get out to the polls. We find ourselves 3 weeks away from Election Day, less than a week out from early voting. So I have the opportunity to represent the hospitality industry, which is very important to me as a former president of the Las Vegas Hospitality Association, serving on the Commission on Tourism, and I'm also proud to say that I'm a former board member of Nevada Conservation League. I know, some big fans of NCL out there, me too. So priorities, job creation, always so important, and coming from the board of Nevada Conservation League, I look to green our economy. So I'm looking for green jobs, good paying jobs here in our economy. Education. The best possible world-class education for our students. And workforce development is especially important to me. When I was president of the Hospitality Association, I created a workforce development program, and I'm so excited to take that to a statewide level. And healthcare. Accessible, affordable healthcare. And I'm going to pass over the microphone, but I would love to speak in specifics with anyone afterwards. And thank you so much again. My name is Duy Pazina, and in 3 weeks, I will be the senator in Senate District 12.
Good evening. Thank you all for being here. I'm Marilyn Donder, running for State Senate District 8. I'm on the far west end of town. Take in Caoile Ranch, Lakes, Spring Valley, some of the Sienna area, some of Summerlin, and up to the Paseos. So I have a very horizontal wide district. I have been in the state senate 4 years. I served 3 terms, 6 years in the assembly. I'm an educator by trade. I taught 30 years here in the Clark County School District and was raised just a stone throw from here. So my priority, of course, is always education and taking care of our kids, and making sure that we leave Nevada better than we found it. Also, as Julie mentioned, and I'm sure all of us will mention, affordable housing and job creation is always very important. We want to take care of those that work the hardest in our community. We also want to make sure, yes, that healthcare is affordable. I was so excited today when I heard about the hearing aids that are going to be over the counter. While it's not our purview, it's a very important piece to our community. So I'm going to pass the mic on over to my colleague, State Senator Melanie Scheible, and thank you all for being here this evening.
Thank you so much, Senator Donder. I'm Melanie Scheible. I am your state senator in District 9. Yeah. District 9 is awesome for many reasons, not least of which is because it has one of, if not the largest populations of AAPI community members in the state of Nevada. And I see many familiar faces here today from the AAPI community as well as from SEIU and our partners. So thank you all for taking the time to be here. I have been serving in the Nevada State Senate since 2018, and this is my first re-election campaign. It is going to be tough, but it is going to be worth it because I am so excited to go back to Carson City in February and keep working on all the things that we have been trying to do, that we have been doing for the last 4 years. Just a couple of those things include protecting the right to an abortion. I think that there is, nothing more sacred and nothing more important than that fundamental freedom of every individual to make their own choices, their own health care. And if you follow me on TikTok, you may have seen me explain how the Nevada legislature has previously protected this right, but it doesn't mean that we can give up now and stop being vigilant about ensuring that everybody has the freedom to choose. Another priority that we have in the state senate and in the state legislature is Nevada's educational system. Our kids deserve to go to good schools that prepare them for the workforce, for college, for technical training, and for careers right here in the state of Nevada. So I will continue to work with my partners in the state legislature, in the executive branch, and in the community to ensure that we continue to fund, that we increase our funding for public schools, and that we increase the quality of our public schools. I am also committed to ensuring the right to vote for everybody. We have been working hard over the last 4 years to make Nevada an automatic register to vote by mail state, to ensure that people can register same day, and that people have the options to vote early. That helps increase turnout, that helps increase participation, because as you know, your vote is your voice, and we'll continue to keep working to make voting accessible for all Nevadans. And I thank you for your time here tonight and look forward to our conversation.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I am Assemblyman Edgar Flores, and I'm running for Senate District 2. You're actually in Senate District 2 now. And I first wanted to thank you all for being here. Just as we look out, know that we see essential workers who deserve strong wages, who deserve strong benefits, that everything you do for other families, you should be able to afford for yours. And that's why we're here today. That's why all these electeds are here today, because we recognize your value and how much you mean to this community, and that when we go to the Nevada State Legislature, we're not going to forget all the help you've done, but also all the work you've done during these very difficult times for Nevada. So if you could give yourselves a round of applause, please. So I represent the northeast side of town. Anybody who lives east of Main, north of Charleston, Sloan, and Las Vegas Boulevard, that's the general area for Senate District 2. I am also an attorney by trade. I do immigration law. I have actually my law building right down the street from here, and I say that because I very specifically built a building on this side of town because I wanted to make sure we had professional services here. I've invested everything I have to ensure that we're bringing all the services that when I was a little kid we lacked on this side of town, that we now have them. I was also a shoe shine right down the street at the Broadacre Swap Meet as a child. And I share that with you because I recognize how hard it's been for a lot of folk on this side of town to get to where we are now. That's the only reason I ever ran for office. I don't come from a family of elected officials. I don't come from folk who were mentoring me all throughout my life to be an elected official. I stepped up for the same reasons all of you are here today, because you saw a need in your community and you stepped up and you're doing a lot to help elect the folk who are going to represent you. And so that's the reason I'm here. I've been doing mentoring programs for over 17 years, and I've been working on a lot of juvenile justice work, and I'm going to continue that into the Senate. So I want you to know that the folk that are up here not only are saying things that are important to you, but they come from the same exact communities that all of you represent. And I want you to know that, and that you can also hold us accountable. We're going to ask for help. We desperately need help. We cannot win this without you knocking doors for us, picking up the phone for us. But at the same exact time, after we win comes the better side, because now comes where you can reap the benefit of having elected officials who care about you, who will represent your interests and will pick up the phone every single time you call them. So with that, Edgar Flores running for Senate District 2, and thank you all for being here tonight.
Good evening, 1107. My name is Fabian Doñate. I'm proud to represent Senate District 10, which is in central Las Vegas. I want to quickly say that I am the proud son of two parents in two different unions. My dad is a member of the Culinary Workers Union, and my mom is a member of the UFCW Labor Union. And I mention that because my dad, during the COVID-19 pandemic, got laid off, while I had another parent who was a frontline worker, making sure that the grocery stores were fully stocked and that people were being fed. And it was through that experience that I realized that our state did not do as well as we should have. We were really good at being resilient, but there's a lot of work to be done to ensure that workers are protected, to ensure that healthcare workers get the raise that they deserve, and that we're building a future that is equitable for all of our families. I'm really excited to be in front of you all here today to answer any of your questions. We have a lot of work to get done. Vamos a luchar, vamos a ganar. We're going to go keep fighting, and we're going to go win this November. So thank you.
Great. Thank you for those great answers. The one question I have is about affordable housing. The housing crisis has reached a breaking point here in Nevada. Residents are being priced out of real estate due to mega corporations buying up homes and increasing rents. Rents are up 30% in some areas, and communities are calling on local governments to step in and do something to level the playing field for residents. What can we do in the legislature to stop predatory corporations pricing out us hardworking Nevadans and ensure that everyone has access to affordable housing?
So I think this is a very important conversation, because when I was knocking on the doors during June and May, practically almost every door when I asked them, how is it, especially in apartments, immediately off the bat they said, you know what, I haven't had the chance to talk to anyone
going through the COVID-19 pandemic, and you are the first person that I've talked to about this issue. I live on a fixed income, and because my rent has been raised by $400, $500, I don't know how long this is going to be able to be sustained. In fact, there might be a chance that if my rent gets increased just a little bit more, I might have to move out and live in my car. And that is the unfortunate reality that we have right now. Fortunately, as well, there are folks in this community that are continuously fighting for neighborhood stability. That is something that we have no choice but to address in this upcoming session, because if we don't, then we're failing to leave people behind. And so that is something that I think that we can work forward to for next session. We have to do something. We have to make sure that folks are being taken advantage of, that people can afford where they live, because if you don't have a place to call your home, then you have nothing. Housing is a right, not a privilege. Let's make sure that we fight for that.
Home stretch right now. I'm going to be very quick. My name is Melanie Scheible. I am a registered nurse at UMC Hospital, and I am an executive board member. I'm the secretary treasurer for SEIU, and I'm here to moderate our county commissioners. So thank you for being here, and please take 1 minute to introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about what your vision and top priorities are.
Hello, my name is Justin Jones. I represent County Commission District F. District F is mostly in the southwest part of town, so that's Southern Highlands, Rhodes Ranch, Mountains Edge, southern part of Summerlin, as well as all of the Chinatown area along Spring Mountain. I was elected 4 years ago, backed by SEIU, and previously served the Nevada State Senate with my colleague here, Dick Segerblum. And I would have never been elected to the Senate either without the tremendous support from SEIU. I've been proud of the work that we've done on the County Commission when it comes to affordable housing, getting through the pandemic with the tremendous cooperation of SEIU and its leadership team. And I'm excited to be here today and answer some questions about what we do.
Thank you. I'm Jim Gibson. I represent District G, which is essentially everything south of Tropicana, or Flamingo, excuse me, all the way to Boulder City. So, and I've got both sides of the strip in part of that, and I share a border with Tick. Really happy to be here this evening. Justin really mentioned the key and salient point for your ears. We appreciate you. You've helped us all in campaigns in the past, and most importantly, probably more than our campaigns, is the incredible work that you did at our hospital and throughout the county operations to keep things moving, keep things going. And you know that in an economic downturn, which we may have in the future, it'll be especially important that we're working together. And that work together is something that can make us thrive. I work on water with Justin. I work on a multitude of other things. Right now we're focusing on trying to help the Strip be a little bit safer place. And there's a lot of work that's gone into it. I think we're going to see some good results. And that will keep the economy thriving if we can continue to keep the boulevard full. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you. That was actually a professional radio announcer who was actually acting like he was Jim Gibson. He has the best voice in history. But as they both said, we owe our lives and our jobs and our careers to SEIU. In addition to being on the county commission, I'm on the health district, which is SEIU. I'm on the board of UMC, which is SEIU. I'm on the board of RTC, which is SEIU. I'm on the board of the Water Reclamation District, which is SEIU. And then I have Sunrise Hospital, which is right in the middle of my district, which is, of course, SEIU. So I feel surrounded by you. I feel like I'm in your family. And let me just say, I think going forward, we want to make sure that you're at the table. You're not on the menu. You are at the table. Every time we negotiate something, you're going to be there. We're going to fight for you. We want to make sure you get good benefits, maternity benefits. If you want to work from home, we're going to make it fair. We're going to make sure that everyone is treated equally when they work for the county or one of these other agencies. So thank you so much.
Okay, I think these panelists are even bringing up their own chairs. Come on, give him a big hand. So, I am calling to the dais, to the stage, this folks, Selena Torres. Garrett, you're going District 3. Go find your seat, Selena. Shondra Summers-Armstrong, District 6. Duy Nguyen, District 8. Yay! Rochelle Nguyen, District 10. Will Rucker, District 13. David Orentlicher, District 20. Max Carter, District 12. Reuben D'Silva, District 28. Erica Mosca, District 14. You know what? This looks like a class reunion. How about a photo op? Come on. And Venetia. Oh, somebody did not give me a name. Venetia, District 18. There you go. Venetia Considine. Is it Considine? Okay, cool. There you go. So,
pediatric ICU nurse at UMC. I'm an SEIU executive board member, and I'm the current elected chief steward of nursing at UMC, and I've been a union member for 10 years. Panel, thank you for being here. Because we have so many of you, we're just going to ask you to please take 3 minutes, introduce yourself, and please share your vision or priorities for when you get elected.
I'm running for State Assembly District 12. First time I've ever run for anything. Assembly District 12, like the man standing there and I just discussed, where he lives. And I'm pointing at you, yes, is the base of Sunrise Mountain. So it basically runs from above the Sloan Channel, above that from Nellis Air Force Base through the Wetlands Park over to Calico Ridge in Lake Las Vegas. I'm a lifelong Nevadan. I grew up literally down the street here. Remember when this used to be the National Guard Armory that we'd walk by to look at the tanks? The Boy Scouts behind it. I went to Sunrise Acres Elementary School, Roy Martin Junior High School, and Vegas High School. I raised my sons on this side of town, and like I say, I'm a retired electrician. Been a union person my whole life, and that's what I think I bring to this, is it's not, I'm going to represent you, I'm one of you going to be up there. My grandmother was the first woman journeyman butcher in the whole state of Nevada. My father was a union electrician, my mother was a union stagehand, and now I've got 2 sons that are union school teachers. I understand our neighborhoods, I understand the challenges we're reaching, and what we're talking about, I believe that I'm here, I'm running to be elected to serve my community, and what I hear at the doors is just what we already heard, is the housing. Why is it that half the houses on the street are rentals? Why is it that our children can't buy into the same neighborhood they grew up in? The only option they have is renting. And then, excuse me, I know we got some school board members in here, but there's a lot of frustration wondering why their children behave better than the school board does and why they can't get anything done. There's a lot of frustration with that, and that's what we need to focus on.
Hi, my name is Venetia Considine. I am currently the assembly person for District 18, which is on the east side. Boulder Highway from Samstown to Galleria is the heart of my district. It bumps up against Max's district and Erica Mosca's district and David Orentlicher's district. So we're all here to work for you. I ran for office for the first time because I moved to Las Vegas 32 years ago to build a better life. I lived at a campground on KOA when I went to Chaparral High School here, and I knew that coming back to Vegas, I could get a job, I could pay my bills, I could raise my daughter, I could build a good life with dignity. And since the recession in 2009 onward, those opportunities have disappeared. And I am here and I'm running for re-election again to fight for those opportunities, because if you're working full-time, you should be able to buy a house. You should be able to build generational wealth so your kids can dream and they can do what they want to do. And in order to do that, you need a good paying job, you need access to true, actual health care,
and you need a good education system, because that's what we all need to build a better life, which is why we're all here. So thank you so much for your support. I appreciate all of you. I can't wait to work with you in the next session. And again, Venetia for Assembly District 18.
Thank you very much. That was great. I'm going to be stuck behind this table. My name is Duy Nguyen, and I am, thank you. Yes, I did pay some of you. So great to be here tonight. My background is event planning. I know we're running behind schedule, so I will not take 3 minutes. I'm going to take 1 minute so that we can get caught up. I have a few things to say. I'm an immigrant. I'm a parent. I am a small business owner. I'm a nonprofit leader, and I am one of you. And I'm representing you in the House of the People, and that is the State Assembly. So we want to make sure that we have more representation and we don't leave voices behind. I'm very proud to be part of the class that bring not just one, not just two, but 3 additional Asian Pacific Islander to the Nevada legislature. That is Reuben D'Silva and Erica Mosca. So we are very proud to be part of this group, and we want to make sure that we represent you. So please, I already echo the 2 predecessors by saying all those issues are important to us. We want to make sure that we're here, and we're here to listen to you all. So my phone number is on my handout, and my email's on there. Please reach out, and I'll be glad to represent you the best way possible. Duy Nguyen for District 8. Thank you.
Yeah, we're good. So this is actually reminding me of like how I look at the balance, like the voting numbers over time. Like you started with Congress, everybody did real good, and now we're at the Assembly, and folks kind of trickle out a little bit. But I appreciate y'all being here, and you're going to vote for us. So thank you. My name is Rucker. I'm running for Assembly District 13. This is such an important district, not just because we have dinosaur bones in it, but because this is the first time in almost a decade that anyone in this district has a choice for who represents them at the Assembly. The first time in nearly a decade they get to check the person that they want, that is not pre-chosen for them. So this is something that is so important. I'm running because I think we need to do things better. I think we need to do things differently. And I'm the person that says the things that when you're at the water cooler, you talk about but you don't say in public. I'm the person that doesn't know not to say that in public yet. So I know what we need, and I'm gonna work hard to ensure that each one of us gets everything that we need. And the reality is, we are all connected. So when one of us does well, it means everybody else can do better. When one of us is suffering, whether you feel it immediately or not, all of us are suffering. So that means I think all of us need to be able to see a doctor or get medicine whenever we need to. I think that every one of our kids should have a world-class education, no matter what their zip code might be. I am not that school choice person, school choice. No, every public school needs to be world-class. And the last thing, I have a show on KCEP 88.1 called A Healthier Tomorrow. So healthcare is kind of important to me. And I have a podcast called Compassionate Las Vegas, the podcast. So compassion is kind of important to me. So we cannot sink to the level of being uncivil. Civility matters, our consciousness matters, being good human beings matter. So that's what I want to take to the Assembly, and I hope that you help to get me there. Will Rucker for Assembly District 13.
How are you doing today? My name is Reuben D'Silva. I'm running for Assembly District 28. I know Edgar Flores is in the building. I'm told I've got big shoes to fill. I know how big they are, so I'm hoping to be as great a representative of the district as Edgar has been for so many years. A little bit about myself. I'm a school teacher at Rancho High School, right down the street here. And we see some of our district leaders here. Thank you for being here. And I grew up in this area. I went to C.P. Squires Elementary School, attended St. Christopher's Church, where I'm still a parishioner. And today I'm actually teaching at Rancho High School, the same high school that I graduated from, which I'm so proud to work at and to build a career in. I plan on being there for 20, 30 years. I'm going to be there for the long run. That's my plan. And the area that I'm running for now is this area here, East Las Vegas. My district, Assembly District 28, where I'm running, starts a little bit to the east here, about 1 block. So we're talking about Pecos out to Sloan, Bonanza, north towards Las Vegas Boulevard. So think about Freedom Park, think about the Broad Acres Swap Meet, think about El Dorado High School, think about Sunrise Mountain High School in that area there. So we're talking about the northeast part of the historic east side. I served in the United States Marine Corps before becoming a teacher. Served a tour in Iraq, was injured, was shot through the arm, and did a year-long stay at a hospital. So I know how important healthcare is, and especially the work of the healthcare workers and the nurses, who I owe so much to. They took care of me, and they made me who I am today. They rebuilt my arm and taught me how to use my hands again after I was injured very badly. So thank you to all of you who are working in the healthcare sector. I am going to be making a real focus now upon, of course, education, me being a high school teacher, and also access to healthcare. I didn't know this. I know folks like Max are probably hearing this, Erica, but one of the things that I learned by knocking doors out on the east side is a real need now for medical facilities, especially in ER, out in the northeast part of town. I hope we can make this happen. I know it's it's a big dream, but we can do this. There was a student of mine here recently, some of you may know him, who was stabbed in the heart, right in the chest in an altercation in the parking lot. Okay, down over here on Craig and Las Vegas Boulevard. He had to drive all the way out to North Vista Hospital, and he bled out on the way there. Now, if there was an ER closer, there many people say he could have survived because they could have triaged him at that moment. So again, these are the sort of things that we need to start thinking about, especially in a part of town that has been historically neglected for a long time. So I'm hoping to work with people like Edgar, who's going to be our state senator, and the assembly and the state senate here, a Democratic governor, which we have to elect. This is very important. We got to get a Democratic governor in there because we can do all that we can in the legislature, but if we can't get those bills passed, we're not going to see progress. So again, I hope that you work with us. You get your families to vote, get your friends to vote, get your neighbors out there, and when we vote, we win. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Again, my name is Reuben D'Silva. I'm running for State Assembly District 28. Thank you so much for having us today. Thank you.
Hi everybody, my name is Shondra Summers-Armstrong and I'm the Assemblywoman for Assembly District 6 here in Las Vegas. My district begins at Bonanza Road and goes north to Cheyenne, Rancho Drive and as it meets Cheyenne, and then on the east side of town at Las Vegas Boulevard. It is wonderful to be in the House of Labor. And I say that because this is where I got to grow up. I was a member of SEIU 1107 over 15 years, and I worked at the RTC, which is a government agency, for many years. I was a captain, a chief steward, a chief steward, and then on the executive board before I retired. I understand how important it is for us as labor leaders, for you as members of unions, to stand and be heard. Do the same work that I did when I was a union steward, to take your concerns to the legislature, to listen to you and to my neighbors, and let that be the information that I take back and how it informs the bills and the legislation that we put forward. You are our foundation, and if we don't listen to you, then we're listening to folks that we shouldn't be listening to, because you represent everyday folks, our neighbors, our families, our friends. And I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to be just in a sea of purple. Thank you so much for allowing us to speak. I'm going to shut up because I can talk all day. Thank you. Shondra Summers-Armstrong, Assembly District 6.
Hi, good evening, good evening. It is beautiful to be out here today supporting our union brothers and sisters this evening here in East Las Vegas. My name is Assemblywoman Selena Torres, and I proudly represent Assembly District 3, which is in the heart of West Las Vegas, Nevada, so close to the Jones and Lake Mead area. And so I'm super excited to be here with you today. I'll tell you, over the last 2 years, I really learned how critical labor is. And I say that from personal experience. My father is at a casino, and he's one of the organizers for the operating engineers at the Resorts World. And unfortunately, he has been victim to unfair trade practices, union busting practices that nobody should have to endure. And in the state of Nevada, it is critical that we support labor and we support our right to organize throughout our community. Unfortunately, I know that this is an issue that impacts many of you, and that's why in the state legislature we fought hard to protect our unions, but also to ensure that we're supporting legislation that will make our living conditions better for all. So I'm hoping to go back to Carson City to continue that work, but we can't do that without you. It means each and every single one of you needs to vote this election. You need to call your friends, you need to get them to vote, you need to drive them to the polls, you need to call us and ask us to help people to drive them to the polls, because we really need our voice heard this election cycle. Assemblywoman Selena Torres for Assembly District 3, thank you.
Good evening, my name is Erica Mosca, running for Assembly District 14, and I want to first thank all of you. I know that you've been working since like 6 a.m. this morning and you're here. Let's give you a round of applause. Thank you. I watched every day growing up my grandmother, who immigrated here to the Philippines, take care of other people in their houses. And we used to always say she was a home health care worker who could never afford the house or be that person that she was taking care of. But if it wasn't for her, they wouldn't be comfortable. They would not have been able to live the life that they lived. But because of her sacrifice, I was able to be the first person in my family to graduate from college. Thank you. I then moved here to become a teacher, so I know exactly what it means to be somebody who's of the community, who's for the community, and so I thank you again for being here. Make sure you got your plan to vote, and we appreciate you. Thank you.
Good evening, I'm David Orentlicher. Much easier just to say David O. And I represent Assembly District 20 on the southeast side. So if you start at Maryland Parkway and go east, between Russell and up to Desert Inn, that's Assembly District 20. I'm in my first term, and thank you for having us. Thank you for all you do, because I know you show up during the legislative session in your purple shirts, and it's great when you do. My background's in both medicine and law. I practiced primary care, got interested in ethics and law, now I teach at UNLV. And I remember during my practice days in medicine, how critical the nurses, the aides, the technicians, and how much all of you did to make sure that my patients got the care they needed. The frontline workers, you were essential, and I couldn't have done my job without you. And doctors today can't. And I also want to thank you especially when COVID was rampant and killing people, and you were out on the front lines and risking your lives to keep us safe and take care of the people who need it. I can't thank you enough. And the way I will try to pay you back is, one of the things I know is we don't pay you enough, we don't give you adequate benefits, your health care costs are too high, and those are priorities for me to make sure we bring health care costs down so everybody can afford health care, and to make sure you get the pay and other benefits that you deserve for taking care of us. Thank you. I'm David Orentlicher, Assembly District 20.
Sorry, we only have one mic that works. Hi, everyone. When she said limit a bunch of legislators or legislative candidates to 3 minutes, I kind of laughed to myself because you can't shut us all up. My name is Rochelle Nguyen, and I represent Assembly District 10. And probably, I would say the heart of my district is actually SEIU. Their headquarters on Sahara is right there in the center of Assembly District 10. Also, I see one of my favorite constituents in the room here, to Commissioner Tech Segerblum, who's also here too. So I'm really happy to be here. If I'm fortunate enough to be re-elected this time, it would be my third term. I spent the last session chairing the Health and Human Services Committee, and so I know the work that you all do. I know that the policies that we pass in the state legislature for our state make a difference in what you guys do and how you are able to do your jobs and be paid adequately and be represented fairly in the system. So I look forward to doing that, and I'm not going to talk more because I want to get to real conversations about issues, but thank you guys all for hanging in here tonight.
Welcome to the polls again at San Buban. I caught up with Brenda Zamora, who is running for the school board, District D, and we're gonna ask her a couple of questions. Brenda, is this the first time you're running for the school board?
It is. It's my first race that I do.
And what have you were doing before in public service?
So I was doing community service, community work. So I worked at a non-profit progressive movement, and I fought for bills like paid sick days. Nationally, I did paid leave work, just organizing our community so they can get out and, you know, testify, share their stories, so we can pass policies that help working families.
Why is it important that you win in this election for the school board?
So we have a lot on the line right now. We have a lot of teachers upset with the district. We are already in a teacher shortage. It is important right now that we have someone on the board that's going to listen to our teachers, to our parents, and to our kids. We have, you know, high schoolers showing up to the school board. They're sharing their stories. I'm so sorry. They're sharing their stories. They're out here, and they need to be heard. A lot of the time they're just kind of talking to a real board. It feels like a wall, and they're not getting any responses back. So I definitely want to be that voice of my community.
And why do you think it's also important that that the Democrats maintain control of the state legislature and the state senate?
That, you know, honestly, it's because of where, you know, the issues align, especially for me. My issues are making sure that our working families, you know, can thrive. And the Democratic side is definitely one that aligns with those issues, and they see those families and those communities who are suffering the most in our state.
Brenda, thank you for agreeing to talk to us. Brenda Zamora, candidate for school board, District D, Clark County. Thank you again. Also with me today is William Rucker, who is running for Nevada State Assembly District 13, and I'm going to ask him maybe a couple of questions. Mr. Rucker, are you presently holding any public office?
No, I'm not.
Okay. And you are running for the State Assembly. What are the closest thing to your heart if you are elected in the state for the State Assembly? What important program for your community you have in your mind or that's close to your heart?
Yeah, I want to put people first. I want to do the things that matter to people every day. So the thing that I want to do is make the assembly accessible to everyone. Right now we meet every other year for 4 months, and it costs a whole lot of money to do that. So I want to make the assembly reflective of everyday Nevadans so that we all can make a difference in our community.
Yes. And thank you for agreeing to talk to us, Mr. Rucker. And good luck, and God bless your race. Thank you. All right. Welcome again to the polls. I'm Sam. I bumped into Clark County Commissioner William McCurdy of District D, and we're going to ask him a couple of questions or 3 questions. Commissioner McCurdy, you're one of the youngest Clark County Commissioner, and what are we expecting in today's election? How is it going for you?
Well, I mean, luckily for me, I'm not up on the ballot, but many of my friends are on the ballot this cycle. And that's why I showed up today, this evening at SEIU's Communities United event, Raising the Stakes, because the stakes are high for all of our candidates all across the state, and we can't afford to lose not one person, not in the legislature, not on the county commission, or the school board, or anywhere else. We know that we need candidates that are going to stand up for families, make sure that they have what they need to live a high quality of life, to address issues like affordable housing and the amount of evictions that we're seeing as well. We have a lot of judicial candidates. So I am here today supporting those candidates. We got to make sure that we get Governor Steve Sisolak reelected, as well as the entire Democratic slate for statewide constitutional office with Attorney General Aaron Ford, Treasurer Zach Conine, and not to forget, we have to elect the Secretary of State with Cisco Aguilar, which is incredibly important. So I'm just here making sure that I offer my voice in this conversation to make sure that folks know just how important this race is to me, but more so for all of our families.
While you're at it, Commissioner, why is it important that the Democrats remain in control of the U.S. House of Representatives and the U.S. Senate?
Well, when we think about just what we've all experienced over these last 2 years, we went from a point in time to where we didn't have vaccinations to having vaccinations, making sure that all of our communities had access to vaccinations so that we can remain safe. The Democrats have been in control of that process. And look at where we are now. We're at a process to where we have gotten through the pandemic, gotten through COVID. Our economy is back open and it's vibrant as ever. And oh, by the way, we wouldn't have had the resources had it not been for those policymakers at the federal level making sure that Nevada got over $4 billion with a B to help with our economic recovery. And I would say that they deserve an opportunity to continue to represent us because they understand and they understood what it took to get through the pandemic. They offered all of their assistance and resources to us, but now we're at a point to where we're going to need their continued leadership to build more resilient communities across the state of Nevada.
Last question, Commissioner. What would you say to our Filipino-American voters about the importance of going out and voting on election day?
Well, number one, it's incredibly important that we have an opportunity to have say on who's going to represent our families and our values. And I would say to the Phil-Am community that we have to make sure that we come together to support candidates who are going to continue to increase our quality of life, who is going to continue to keep our economy rolling, that is going to continue to support small business and entrepreneurship, but most of all, continue to make sure that we have educational opportunities within our community and also building alliances with those who are in the Philippines to continue to come to America, to continue to work within our healthcare system and continue to achieve their own personal goals and dreams. And that is what is at stake in this election because we need folks who value the immigrant story, who value making sure that we lift up our communities, who value education, public education and entrepreneurship within our minority communities as well. And that's what I would tell our Filipino community, that it's going to take all of us to continue to make progress and we have to do it together.
Right. Clark County Commissioner William McCurdy of District B. Don't forget to vote on election day. Thank you, Commissioner.
October 22nd, early vote starts. Make sure you get out there and get your vote cast.
October 22nd, that's
2, 1, and go.
As we continue in the campaign trails, we've been following a lot of candidates and incumbents, and I bumped into Commissioner Tick Siger-Bloom, who is County Commissioner for District E, correct? E. All right, Commissioner Siger-Bloom, Tick Siger-Bloom, you were in the County Planning Commission before, correct? Right now, you're still in the County Planning Commission. And if we continue to send you, or we re-elect you for the County Commission District E, what good things are coming for the district in
next 4 years?
Next 4 years.
Yeah. Well, truly, the job is a learning job. So I spent 4 years. I was right in the middle of it. That had the pandemic. So 2 years were basically spent just trying to survive and keep the town alive, which I think we've done a good job on. But now that I've been there 4 years, I know what we can do. We can help the nurses at UMC. We can help the home health care nurses. We can help the neighborhoods. One of the things I want to try to do is go back into older neighborhoods and pep them up. Clean the streets, make everybody proud to be there. So there's just lots of things we can do as a county commission, spending money and focusing and making people's lives better. Because we've just been through such a terrible time the last couple of years. We kind of lost sight of what government's role is. I think now we're back on the train and we're ready to go forward.
Do you think this is one of the election cycle that you will have like a formidable challenger?
Absolutely. anytime it's a midterm of a presidential year and the president empowers a Democrat, we have to really fight because most people think, well, we have a Democratic president, we're in good shape, we don't have to worry about it, so they don't vote. The other side is pissed as hell, so they all vote. And so when that happens, we can lose. And truthfully, the best thing we can do is make sure we all stay in power. We haven't had Democratic governor for 20 years before Sisolak. He's done so many great things. Catherine Cortez Masto, our U.S. Senator, is so critical for us. Really important for Nevada. We only have, the one thing we have is 2 senators, like California only has 2 senators. So when you're a senator from Nevada, that is super important. And then at the county commission level, we do so much for everybody, and it's just so important to have people there that understand government and want to make government work, which is what our current team does.
All right. Commissioner Tixiger Bloom, thank you for agreeing to talk to us.
Thank you so much.
Have a good night.
And the Filipino community is so critical to my district. I can't tell you how proud I am.
It's good to know. Thank you, sir.
Go.
Welcome to the polls again at Philam TV. As I followed the campaign trails during this election cycle, I bumped into Anna Albertson, who is running for re-election of Department 11 of the District Court in Clark County. Anna, how is it? Why is it important that we re-elect you into the bench?
Sure, it's incredibly important that you're very careful who you elect for your judges. And I'm the best candidate in this race for 3 reasons: experience, community, and future. I can go through each of those, but I don't want to sit you here all night, so I'll essentially just say I'm the most experienced candidate in this race, I am the most community-minded candidate in this race, and finally, I am future-focused. I'm running because we need to make a better world for all the children coming after us, anybody's grandchildren, and the future of this community.
All right. And how is it going for you in the campaign trail?
Sure. Well, it depends on the day. Some days are really great, and some days are pretty exhausting. But overall, I cannot complain. It is a privilege just to be able to put your name on the ballot to run for anything. I am a first-generation American. I never thought I would be doing this, but I've been lucky enough to have this opportunity in my life, and I cannot complain about what I'm going through. It is busy, it is exhausting, but it is so much fun. I'm meeting all these great people, and so many people are really doing their best to make good changes in this world. So what I say to everybody is, let's make good changes together.
Yes. Anna Albertson running for District Court Department 11. Thank you.